So here I am, depressed, chronic patellar tendonitis. I don't have hockey anymore. I don't know what to do. Life is very difficult for me at this time. I ended up moving into an apartment by myself because I needed solitude. It didn't do me any favors to be with my friends who were thriving in life and having the time of their life. I just needed to figure out who I was, in a sense. And right around that time, a good friend of mine that I grew up playing hockey with got back early from playing over in Europe and asked me what I was doing for work. And I hadn't even thought of it at that time. I was just trying to get by and just pass my classes, and that was it. Just one day at a time. But he brought up resurrecting a business that I had started just after my senior year of high school, which was a lake weed removal business. And the fact that I had a good friend of mine wanted to team up with me in a way like that made me feel really good. So I was like, yes, let's bring this back. So that summer was the first time I actually started to get out of my depression, and a lot of it had to do with working with my friend, having a purpose, being outside, getting natural sunlight, moving my body. And, believe it or not, like moving my body actually made my knee feel better. I'd always just been told to rest, avoid things. I was doing some rehab exercises for it. And, it just slowly just got a little better, which was fantastic. And it allowed me to be more active and to do this physically, or this laborious job in the summertime. But a couple summers went on. I ended up starting to feel horrible pain in my hip to the point where I'm pushing a wheelbarrow and every step started to hurt. And then I end up reaching out to a hip specialist, and I go and I see him, and I come to find that I have a torn labrum in my hip, partially torn hip abductor muscles, and hip dysplasia. Awesome. No wonder I am struggling pushing a wheelbarrow, right? So I ended up having to do something about it. I took a cortisone shot, which was very interesting, but very effective, fortunately. I couldn't afford to have surgery because I'm working a business. This is my only means of income, and if I had to take myself away, I'm not making anything, and I'm in excruciating pain. So I am very grateful that the cortisone shot worked. But that didn't prevent me from getting in pain. It actually made matters worse because it masked all this pain here, gave me false hope that I could operate normally, and then all of a sudden I end up having horrible nerve pain shooting down my left leg. And I had no idea where this is coming from, and it was just unbearable. I couldn't sit at home. I couldn't drive in a car. I couldn't sleep. It was on my mind at all times. Anytime I was just hanging out with friends, I'd be bouncing back and forth. I could never sit still. I could never be present in a conversation because I was always trying to talk to myself about how I get out of this pain. Like, why am I feeling this pain? Why is this going on? It would just eat at me and prevent me from engaging in a normal social matter. And I dealt with this for the better part of 2 years. I would see chiropractors that would sign me up for 10 sessions and tell me they had all these tricks for me. And I would see doctors, and doctors say I need to fuse my vertebrae and get a discectomy and do all of this. And I'm like, fuck that. I need to, there's got to be something else out there for me. And fortunately, I was able to find something. My nephew at the time was a rookie in the NHL, the National Hockey League, and I was able to get connected with his agent, believe it or not, who is, I describe it as a modern day shaman. And he hooked a machine up to me called an ARP wave machine, and it worked wonders. He also did a few other tricks on me that we'll get into down the road, because we'll dive into each injury specifically as we get going here. These are all just the cliff notes of everything so that you can understand where I'm coming from and why I'm here right now to help you. So ended up getting this herniated disc issue pretty much under control this ARP machine was so effective, I ended up purchasing it and using it as a strengthening tool and a rehabilitation tool so that I could perform. And I was able to perform pretty damn well. Not only could I do my job in the summertime, but I was asked to play volleyball by a friend, and all of a sudden here I am playing volleyball again. And that was invigorating. Being able to push my body again from an athletic standpoint gave me new life. It literally brought me back from the dead. And over the next few years, I was at a pretty good place. I would still have back pain here and there. I didn't quite trust it. I still didn't like to sit down. I still didn't like to go long distances, but I was able to be pretty functional. And that's when a few years later, this is probably 2015 now, I was had the busiest year for my lake weed removal business, Life's a Beach Shoreline Services. I was playing volleyball like a madman and putting a lot of stress on my body. And after a weekend where I was playing volleyball, went skydiving, and was doing other various things, I ended up with what I would describe as the worst absolute pain in my entire life. It was like a slow feeling of discomfort that came over me to the point where I couldn't lay down, I couldn't sit down, I couldn't sleep. You couldn't suspend me in space without feeling excruciating pain. And I didn't know what to do. I was screaming. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she brought me to the emergency room, and doctors are just looking at me like I'm just like a foreign object. Like, what do I do with this screaming individual? And what do you think they did? They tried to give me every possible pain pill that they could. They had no answer for me. So as I left the doctor's office, just in incredible pain, I didn't know what to do. But my girlfriend, she decided, she goes, well, what about Neil? Why don't you reach out to him? And I'm in no state of communication here at this moment in time. And I'm like, I call him, whatever. And within that phone call, he's like, get on over here, come over to my house. And I went over and I see Neil, and he was able to give me some sort of relief. He did some unique things on me that we'll get to later on in future episodes, because they're very different and very effective and non-invasive and just everything that I was looking for. When I was in my worst state of nerve pain, there were still moments where I wouldn't be in this excruciating pain, pushing that level 10 on the pain scale. Sometimes I would be down in a 3, and I would wonder, why is that? How am I not just in constant pain? Why are there moments where I'm able to capture this feeling of relief? And when I was with Neil, I was able to find these moments of relief, and it clicked in my head that I'm going to be able to beat this. I'm going to fucking fight this nerve pain. I'm not going to have surgery. I'm not going to have doctor visits. I'm not going to have pain pills. I'm going to fucking win. And that's what I did. I spent the next number of years working on my body, working to find the right people to help me heal and thrive and become the person that I know I am. So that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about pain. And that's why it is my destiny to help you.